Ladies and gentlemen, Jazz Gonzo here. What's next? We're going to talk about the border. And I know I haven't done a video regarding the border only because of how extensive that it can be. But we are going to look at different aspects in regards, several stories in regards to the border and why the Biden administration is totally at fault and why this thing has turned into a giant cluster F. Um, Watching Tucker Carlson this morning, he took a trip down to El Salvador to talk about the illegal migrant situation with the president of El Salvador himself. And even the president of El Salvador has said to Tucker that the illegal immigration situation, those leaving his country towards the Mexican border into the US, is a bad situation because it drains off of them that they cannot do what they have been uh, or should I say, that's what's needed to keep his own people in his own country from an economic standpoint. And of course, he said that's bad for him. Excuse me. He said that's bad for him in his country. And also, he said it's bad for the United States because the United States right now can't handle it. Um, when Tucker came back, he had to take a COVID test because legal citizens coming back into US going, from flights, you have to take a mandatory COVID test. But it turns out that if you're illegal, uh, we're just going to bypass that. You just got to come on in. And of course, that the reason Tucker had to do it is that because, quote, the USA's commitment to keep its citizens safe, end quote. So to keep us safe from US citizens coming back into the United States, you gotta take your COVID test. All right. No. If you're illegal, you don't have to take it. If you get caught by American law enforcement, border enforcement, you don't have to take it. You're, shall we say, exempt from it. There was an MS-13 member that Tucker interviewed that basically said that he took a railway, basically a train, to cross over into the border um, from El Salvador into Mexico, and of course, making his way into the US. MS-13 member. This is coming from the Biden administration. The Biden administration releasing foreign nationals into the US cities without knowing if they've got COVID or not. And this is coming directly from the DHS administration. The DHS director himself under the dementia administration admits this clearly. Literally by doing this, the administration really doesn't give up about you, doesn't give about any US citizen, doesn't really give a damn about us. Biden was asked in an interview if he got a chance to go down to the border. Biden said, nah, not right now. I got better things to do. Sign my 70th executive order to basically wipe Trump from existence. That's what I got. That's what I have to do. Now, later, that same interviewer was asked Vice President Harris, same question. She played the Schultz role. I know nothing. She was not informed of what is going on currently at the border. This is the President of the United States and the Vice President of the United States who know absolutely nothing. It's not that you're playing the dummy role, it's you're actually being the dummy. But Harris says, I'm on the case as you know, as I run around pushing critical race theory, which is actually a detriment to our colleges, high schools, and work businesses around the country, and making sure that you boys get on the girls' track team and break records, destroy records, and we don't give a damn about your girls. We don't care. Doing more research, finding out that more than 100,000 illegals have crossed the border from Mexico into the United States per month since Biden became president. What border? Do we have a border? Is there one? We got gang members crossing over. We got murderers, thieves, rapists. Not all, some crossing the border, just as then candidate Trump said when he decided to run for president 4 years ago. But then again, Trump is the racist, he's the racist. So there you go. Right now, there are currently 13,000 illegal children in border custody right now without their parents. 13. Never has this happened in the history of this country in more than a generation. Not since Reagan, when Reagan signed the amnesty bill in November of '86. More than 100 million illegals have crossed over into this country in more than 30 years. So those who think that we're stuck on that 11 million number, no, not really. Ann Coulter, who has said there's about 30 or 40 million illegals in this country, she may be right. I kind of agree with her. I think that out of the 100 million, at least half of them have become legal in this country in the last 30 years. I hope. But then again, the one thing we do know is that the mainstream media, the lamestream media, the leftist media, has basically told you to sit down and shut up. You got certain Democrats. One, Veronica Escobar, Democrat out of Texas. Don't know how the hell she got in. Calling anyone who agrees with border enforcement, anyone who agrees that illegals should not be crossing over into the United States, a racist, a xenophobe. And she said there will be a reckoning for those who carry that. Well, being an Hispanic myself, Puerto Rican descent, both my parents were born in Puerto Rico. I don't have an issue with that. I will carry those thoughts in my head. Why? Because it's true. The fact of the matter is you got countries around the world who have borders, physical borders. I don't know, Russia, Israel, Germany, just to name a few. Now, some have done it better than others. Israel, Russia, some have made it, some have been worse. England, France, Germany. But regardless, borders work. Physical borders work. Putting law enforcement on those borders work. Trump tried. Let's give the man credit. He tried his best. Unfortunately, he was only one man. Yes, he was in the midst of building a physical wall. Great. He increased border agents, recruitments of border agency. Great. He even had at one time the he had the National Guard, uh, several thousand National Guard at the borders to help out. Great. But when you have Democrats who are hell bent on allowing as many illegals into the United States because of free stuff. It's not free. I'm paying for it. You're paying for it. But Biden doesn't give a damn about that. Mr. Dementia doesn't give a damn about that. You know, after you wake him up out of his 20th nap in the last hour, you know, the man doesn't know what color socks he has on, but yet, you know, we got to allow everybody across the border. But of course, right now he's saying, don't cross, don't come here until we prepared the red carpet for you. That is what he's currently saying. At the end of this segment, what it comes down to is all about power. Every single illegal that crosses over is a vote for the Democrats. Period. That's what it is. This was my opening. Now we're going to look at several different aspects in regards to the border. Let's take a look. This comes out of PJ Media. Smoking gun. Here's Joe Biden basically inviting legal aliens to surge the border. That's a fact. 100,000 per month since dementia got into the White House. Now that Joe Biden has dummied up and pretended there is no crisis at the border, it's instructive to go back and look at how he created this chaos. Of course, there is a smoking gun. The Border Patrol has been muzzled and prevented from talking to the media, according to NBC News. Surprising. But the American people have seen enough. Really? 100 million. The officials say the restrictions are seen as an unofficial quote-unquote gag order and are often referred to that way among colleagues. The officials requested anonymity because they are not authorized to speak to the media about the topic. Border Patrol officials have been told to deny all media requests for, quote, ride-alongs with agents along the southern land border. Local press officials are instructed to send all info, queries, even from local media, to the press office in Washington for, quote, approval. And those responsible for cultivating data about the number of migrants, illegals, in custody have been reminded not to share that info with anyone to prevent leaks. This is coming from the Border Patrol themselves. But Joe Biden has left enough breadcrumbs in his official record for us to reach one inescapable conclusion. He caused the mess, aka CLUSTERFU. Senator Ted Cruz pointed out recently in his devastating Twitter thread below, old Joe has promised not to deport illegal aliens. He promised, in fact, to welcome them, which he did. Give them free healthcare, free monies, and free everything, including the so-called COVID relief bill of $1.9 trillion that really is less than 10% actual COVID relief for businesses and individuals. Here it is calling for illegal aliens to be released in the United States to get taxpayer monies. This is from Ted Cruz's tweet. There is crisis on the southern border of Joe Biden's and this is Joe Biden's creation. Throughout his campaign, Biden promised illegal aliens benefits and amnesty, law enforcement of immigration law. I've got the receipts.
Last June, when NBC and Telemundo moderated that first debate with you, I don't recall a clear answer. Under your plan, would the 11, 12 million undocumented immigrants that live in the United States?
Clarity. It's not 11 or 12 million. It's more like 35 to 40 million. Let's get the number straight. Stuck in that stupid 11 million number. Both Democrats and Republicans and the media have been stuck on that stupid number for the better part of a decade. Really? Really? So what? 10 people cross the border a year? Stupid.
States that have been here many for generations, would they have access
Yes.
to health insurance?
Yes.
Dementia. Here's more from Ted. Here's Joe Biden vowing not to deport anyone for the first 100 days of his administration. That means doing what leftist rioters demand, getting rid of ICE and the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, as well as ending illegal alien detention.
How exactly would you detain immigrants, if at all, in a Biden administration?
The way we did when we reformed the system with the DACA, I would not retain them behind bars. They show up. No, here's what they do. They show up. Sometimes you have an ankle bracelet, you set a hearing. We have to surge. We have to surge to the border.
His words, surge to the border. Clown. February 2020, Biden said, nobody's going to be deported in my first 100 days.
Nobody, and some of you are going to get mad at me with this, but nobody is going to be deported in my first 100 days until...
And the receipts just keep coming. They just keep coming. March 2020. Biden was asked if illegal aliens arrested by local police to be turned over to immigration officials. He said no.
Vice President Biden, you opposed sanctuary cities as a presidential candidate in 2007. Where do you stand now? Should undocumented immigrants arrested by local police be turned over to immigration officials?
No.
So he was against sanctuary city, which of course sanctuary city policies have been extremely destructive. Look at California, look at Michigan, look at Maryland. Destructive, and I mean destructive to the economy of those states who decided to do this illegal, constitutionally illegal act of sanctuary city policy. April 2020, Biden calls for a suspension of deportations.
With regard to immigration, you said that you would suspend or place a moratorium on deportations for the first 100 days for anyone in the country illegally. Do you still hold to that, and why do you believe that's a good idea?
Because we have to straighten things out. Anyone who committed a felony in the meantime would be deported. But we have to take time to take stock of exactly what's going on, who's where, what the truth is, and what's going on.
Really? So, President Dementia, how are you going to do this? How did you expect to do this? Since you don't know who they are, you don't know where they've been, we know now you won't even do COVID testing on them, but yet, if they've done something federally illegal, I don't know, like crossing the border, then, we just got to straighten it out. Really? How's it worked so far? Wow, and this just, Let's go back to candidate Biden. August 2020, Biden said illegal aliens should have access to the same benefits as everyone else does, which means what I pay for, what you pay for, is what they deserve.
Should undocumented immigrants also be able to get subsidized health care?
If they are working in the United States of America and they are paying taxes, they should have access to health care.
No. No. Sorry, no. You don't deserve the sweat off my brow. No, absolutely not. You don't deserve to take from me, nor my family. No. September 2020, Biden promised amnesty We're seeing a surge of illegal immigrations in just the past month. Authorities have arrested and encountered more than 100,000, there you go, per month. But let's hear it from the man's own lips.
Part of what I'm going to send to the United States Congress is a total immigration bill to provide a pathway to citizenship for undocumented people in the United States of America.
Basically, a flat-out amnesty bill, a carte blanche. That's what it is. There's no path to legal citizenship. There's no path. That same BS line has been used time and time again, even in Republican administrations. So that's bull. Pretty much, Ted Cruz got the receipts on this. He's got the receipts on this, but let's move on, shall we? This comes out of Breitbart. Texas governor blames Biden for surge of migrant minors at borders, seeks access to detainees. Texas Governor Greg Abbott in Dallas on Wednesday about the growing surge of migrants at the U.S. border with Mexico. The governor directly blames President Biden, exactly correct, open border policies for humanitarian crisis. And you know who's loving this? Soros. The man is loving it. The man is absolutely loving it. Governor Greg Abbott spoke at a hotel across the street from the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center in Dallas, where FEMA is housing some 3,000 teenage boys illegally, 15 to 17 years old, would stay in the convention center up to 90 days. At whose tab? Your tab. My tab. These sites are a direct result of President Biden's reckless open border policies that are causing surge in crossing and cartel activity, Abbott said. The administration has yet to provide any answers that Texans deserve. U.S. Health and Human Services will open the center and take some of the strain off the Border Patrol, which is not supposed to hold children for more than 3 days, but has been forced to do so much longer. Wow, what a surprise. 13,000 kids are being held currently with no parental supervision. Now let's move on to the final. This comes out of Blaze. Trump says Biden's border crisis will soon be a nightmare. They are coming from everywhere. Quote, it's a disgrace, he adds. This is from President Trump as he speaks with Fox's, I think, Maria Bartiromo. I almost butchered her name. I didn't want to butcher her name. But this is coming out of the former president's own lips.
Thank you.
We have so much to get to with you. President Biden's first order of business on January 20th and 21st was to overturn your policies at the border, immediately stop construction of the wall,
shocking,
an onslaught
absolutely
of new
shocking
illegal immigration. Your reaction?
Who would have known?
Do you believe this would not have happened had he not overturned your policies?
Well, my policies were working better than they've ever seen on the southern border. The wall is almost complete. We just had to fix little sections, complete little sections that had to be together. We needed them in order to get the trucks back and forth from side to side, but they've chosen to stop right in the middle. They could have it finished in a month, and it would be just magnificent. It already is magnificent what it's done in the areas where it's totally completed, but just small sections are remaining, and they should finish it. But they're destroying our country. People are coming in by the hundreds of thousands. Young children are coming in, and they leave their homes, and they come up because they think it's going to be so wonderful, and frankly, our country can't handle it. It is a crisis like we've rarely had, and certainly we've never had on the border. But it's going to get much worse. I mean, what you're seeing now is very bad, record numbers, but it's going to get much, much worse. With a little bit of time, you'll see those numbers expand at a level like you've never seen before.
Well, you had 400 plus miles of new wall constructed, Mr. President. Of course, you did a deal with Mexico to share the burden of the illegal immigration.
And of course,
The
waiting for
Remain
all
of
that to get
Mexico
torn down because it's
policy
probably going to
was
get torn
something I
down
know
eventually.
that you and Secretary Pompeo worked on for a long time. Is there any way to reverse that? What would be your advice for the Biden administration to stop the bleeding at the border?
Well, I
Like
have
he's gonna
great
take it.
respect for the president of Mexico. He's a great gentleman. We had a very good relationship. They had 28,000 soldiers on our border while we were building the wall. They had 28,000 soldiers not allowing people to come into our country, and they were also stopping them at their northern border by Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala. They were stopping them so they wouldn't come through Mexico, and we had it really down to a good system. And as the wall was finished, they could remove soldiers, but they still had the same 28,000. And we had a great relationship. They understood that I was playing with tariffs if they didn't do that, but we never had to do that to Mexico because the relationship that we developed was very, very good, very close. And we stopped what was coming into Mexico at their northern border. They stopped that, and they stopped it at our southern border. So we had very few people coming in, and we also stopped human trafficking. When I say stopped it, made a tremendous dent like has never been made before, and also drug trafficking. So we did a lot of things, and all of that is now eroded. Today, they're coming in. You take a look. They're coming in from all foreign countries. I see they're coming in now from Yemen. They're coming in from the Middle East. They're coming in from everywhere. They're dropping.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. That's what that's a little little known receipt that they are coming not just from the southern border, but also from Middle Eastern countries. Why? You blend in, you sneak in, you do, you do some maybe nefarious things, but who's gonna know? Really, who's gonna know? Because this administration doesn't give a rat's ass.
Them off, and they're pouring into our country. It's a disgrace. They're going to destroy our country if they don't do something about it.
Now, my take on this. Everything I just played, including the first half. The first half was pretty much not my take, but what's currently going on at the border. It's easy for me to say this has to be stopped. It's easy for those like Ted Cruz to slam President Dementia based off of facts. They are. Everything regarding the 100,000 per month, over 100 million in the last 30 years, Biden's comments regarding no deportations, a wide open amnesty bill that lets everyone, including their mother, across the border. President Donald Trump's reaction to it, which is absolutely, he's correct. It's all about the votes. It's all about the votes. It's all about what the administration can give to illegals. It's all about what Dems can give to illegals. We've seen this destruction on an economic level at our state level. Ask California. Ask Maryland. Ask New York City. I'm not New York City. Ask New York State. I'm sorry, but even ask Texas, where you have nitwits in Congress, like one Veronica Escobar, saying, well, if you don't like anybody across the border, you're a racist. The stupidity and the ignorance that comes out of this administration shows no bounds, and it continues. It is, seriously, it is like an avalanche, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. We've got a serious issue at the border, folks. Who's paying for it? We're paying for it. Every single legal citizen in the United States is paying for it. with higher taxes, with higher consumer rates, um, higher food prices. We've already seen that in certain states, gas prices are going up. California is approaching $4 a gallon. Shocker. So it's hurting all of us. And when you have a monstrosity bill of $1.9 trillion, when you have those, you're like, well, you know what? Yeah, I've been stimulized. Less than 10% of it is COVID related. Less than 10% of it goes out to the men and women whose businesses are failing or have failed in 2020 because of this pandemic. It's just going to get worse, folks. It's just going to get worse. So I wanted to address the border situation, which I have not done previously. If you like what you see here, please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, hit that subscription button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Once again, I'm Jazz Roganzo. This is What's Next. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.